Rahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Ahmaduhu wa asta'inuhu wa astadihi wa astaghfiruhu wa umminu bihi jalla wa ala wa la akfuruhu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. As-salahu bil huda wa din al-haq liyadhiruhu ala din kulihi wa la kariha al-mushrikun. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him, we seek His help, His assistance and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His servant and messenger. Allah sent him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth. This way of life known as Islam will rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. Alhamdulillah, I guess we'll go into our last session for today. And kind of what we like to talk about is what our mission is. Could you pass me the Quran? We have a certain mission, and this mission is, thank you very much, it's laid out in the Quran itself. And we always talk about our process in Islam. And that process is Quran. That process is the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the other process is history, because the Quran says, "Travel in the earth and see what was the end of those before you. Travel in the earth that you may seek knowledge." And then the last out of the four is our own personal experience. So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So what is our mission? وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Who is better in speech than one who calls men to Allah, work righteous deeds, and says, "I am of those who bow in Islam." وَلَا تستوي الحسنات ولا السيئات ادفع بالتي هي أحسن فإذا الذي بينك وبينه عداوة كأنه ولي حميم. Nor can goodness and evil be equal. Repel evil with that which is better. Then will be between whom and thee was hatred become, as it were, your friend and enemy. وَمَا يُلَاكَهَا إِلَىٰ الَّذِينَ صَبَّرُوا وَمَا يُلَاكَهَا إِلَىٰ Zul Hatin Adim. And no one will be granted such goodness except those who exercise patience and self-restraint, none but persons of the greatest good fortune. You know, years ago, you could go to any place, Masjid, Islamic center, and you would find stacks of literature on dawah, pamphlets on dawah. You don't find that much anymore, because after 9/11 they have frightened the Muslims, and they have put Muslims on the defensive. And we're not happy to go tell people how good Islam is, how Islam makes you feel better, makes you look better, it makes you sleep better. I mean, you have better family life, home life, your business. You know how we used to go out, and Islam is that. It makes life better. Okay? But people are not proud like that anymore. The media has talked so bad about Islam, maybe the Muslims are just afraid to go tell people, man, Islam is good, because they think the people are going to react negatively. We don't go for all of that. We get our mission right out of the book. Now, I know our language don't sound that Islamic. We using this words and that words, and so it don't sound, and we're not striking our beard like this, so it don't look all that Islamic. But in reality, if you notice over the years, we always take everything back to Islam, back to the Quran. So here's what Allah is giving us our mission. So, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Who is better in speech? What is the best speech? Call people, da'a ila Allah, invite people to Allah. And then hamilu salihah, work righteous deeds, and say, Inaini min al-Muslimin. I am proud and happy to be a Muslim. I am not afraid of you people. I don't want any trouble with you, but I'm proud of being a Muslim. I'm happy with this Islam. And then it goes on to say, nor can goodness and evil be equal. Repel evil with that which is better. Then will between whom and thee was hatred become as it were a friend and intimate. So this istawa, it has to do with equalizing. Tastawi, yeah. It has to do with equalizing. So basically what it says, equalize good for evil, or neutralize evil with good. They do you bad, you do them good. That way you will neutralize, you will repel their evil with that which is better. Then it may be that between you and they who was hatred we should become Americans wali. Friend and intimate. Then it uses the word hamimun. Hamim, you know, is warm, like warm water. Hamim, yeah. Can you imagine? What Allah is telling us, it may be between you and them, those same people who burned you, lynched you, put you in prison, did that stuff then, and still do it today. Don't return their behavior with your behavior being equal to theirs. Change that behavior. Improve that behavior with what is better. Then it may be between those of us or them, like Black Lives Matter. They kill black folks anytime they want. That ain't no big deal. In fact, they give the police a month off while they investigate the case with pay. Hey man, that's not a punishment, that's an incentive to shoot somebody. Right? And black too? Okay. But if we take our deen serious, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, don't repel their evil with good. That means we have to improve. We can't make a new world if we stay the same way. Right. You know what I mean? So this Islam is a functional, practical Islam. It's not Islam, Islamic Center Islam that you recite during Ramadan and you stand up for Taraweeh prayers up and down. That's good, but if you can do this, if you can equalize, if you can treat people who have been mean and harmful and ignorant towards you, and you become their wali, that means their friend and intimate and a warm, fuzzy friend. Because that's what I mean, is warm, fuzzy friend. Not just you friendly. Hey man, this Islam is beautiful. Then it says, no one will be granted such goodness except those who exercise sabr, patience and self-restraint, none but persons of the greatest good fortune. Wala Zul Hatim Adim. Haz is kind of like luck and fortune. You know what I mean? It actually means good luck. Technically, that's what it means. To be that kind of way, we're going to have to be very lucky and fortunate. But this is our mission. So this is what we want to do, starting in D.C. and Oakland. We're starting where we are. Now, at one time, we've had as many as 10 Masjid. But they were all pounced upon by the system, by the same stuff we talked about, the counterintelligence program. But we survived. All other movements are wiped out. But we have survived, and we made our last stand at our two original centers. Oakland, which is our original center in D.C. We want to begin the Islamic revival from there. There's a few things that we've done along the way. Psychological guerrilla warfare on our own terms. That means we change the conflict between the system from confrontation and physicalness to psychological. Okay, when we turn it to psychological warfare, that means that they're not going to knock us over. that don't mean they won't. But if they change it to psychological warfare instead of physical warfare, now they're going to use physical warfare. That means they take your money, they do this, that, and other. Those are physical things. Right. But we like it as long as you stay alive and in the game, you're all right. So that's the part. Now we use a lot of different, if you remember about 10 years ago, we had some CDs, and we call it the Jack Johnson style and Muhammad Ali style. Now Jack Johnson was probably one of the greatest champions in world history. And in 1910, when he was fighting Jim Jeffries for the heavyweight championship, the white man ruled the world. He probably haven't been that bad since then. I mean, he ruled everybody. Now here you got a black champion, then whoop they champion. That's where that term Great White Hope came from. Great White Hope means that they went and got Jim Jeffries, the last big champion, and they had him fight in Reno, Nevada, Jack Johnson. And Jack Johnson, when he got in the ring, he had to get through snipers and everybody was trying to kill him. I don't see how he could concentrate on the fight. But anyway, he would be out, he was clowning Jim Jeffries. He said, "Oh, Mr. Jeff, I'm gonna hit you in the eye." Bam, he hit him in the eye. "Oh, Mr. Jeff," you know, acting like a coon. "Oh, Mr. Jeff, I'm fixing to hit you in the tummy." Bam, and he would hit him in the tummy. Boy, look at here. I bet that was a miserable fight for that white man, Jim Jeffries. They used to have a saying, they lynched 50 black people that day after he won the championship. Yeah, and some people would go down and they'd say, "Give me some eggs, beat up like Jim Jeffries, and coffee black as Jack Johnson." They killed him, Negroes. Right. They did, they killed 50 people on that day. But the other thing is, Muhammad Ali, he used to call around a lot of times Mo gonna fall in 4. Somebody gonna fall in 5. That was psychological warfare. Floyd Mayweather, right now we put his name to it, but he can stand right in front of you and you can't hit him. You know what I mean? Although he's getting old for boxing. He's probably 38 or something by now. That's old for boxing. And he's still standing right there and you can't hit him. And he made good fighters like Pacquiao. Man, Pacquiao is good.
We couldn't get him though.
He couldn't get him. Then that other, the Latino guy, the Mexican guy a few years ago, this guy was good. They asked him, why didn't you do this? He said, I couldn't hit him. What are you talking about? Why didn't you? I was. Okay, so we chose those type of people as kind of a role model for the fight that we're going to have. You know what I mean? Psychological warfare, we're going to stand right in front of you. That's what we're doing right today. We're standing right in front of the system and saying, America, we're going to establish Islam on a true sense in America, and we're going to lead the charge, and we're starting from Oakland and Washington, D.C., whether you like it or not. That's psychological warfare. That's like saying, Mo, you're going to fall in 4. Okay, now remember, we chose these people as role models because of what they bring to the table. So when we get the opportunity to use their characteristics, we're happy. That's what we're doing now. This is not, that's why after Juma I tell people, look, I'm not bragging, I'm not talking. This is trash talk. This is what we, you know, so they'll understand that we ain't with crazy. No, this is what we're doing. We're talking to them. You know, I was talking like this. You know what Mukhtar said about this type of talk? You're arrogant. And I'd already told them this is not. I said, I don't talk to Muslims like that. I don't go tell Muslims, I'm Imam Musa, and you know who I am? Look here. Now, you got it right. I don't do that. This is talking to them. I can't get it out. It's psychological warfare. And it's working. Why is it working? It's because we've neutralized that system. Can you imagine what they did to all the other brothers before? We know what they did to our brothers. So what we've neutralized them, actually we've paralyzed them. And we've exposed them. They've exposed themselves. I mean, to come to the masjid with guns, to steal your lawnmower. I mean, I can't talk about it. They do so much stuff. But everybody see it. You see what I mean? That means that their thinking is paralyzed. They can't come up with nothing new. They keep repeating the same, and now it's exposed to everyone. So, and we see that they have Wells Fargo Bank, Citibank involved with them, Bank of America that had all of our accounts, but it's been a total failure. Can you imagine a whole system? The DC system, they write fines. They sent a fine for $3,000 with some paper that was on somewhere, I don't know when ago. Of course, whatever it was, we took care of it. But they can write a fine and they say, we sent you paperwork and you didn't answer or you didn't do this. Of course they ain't sent you no paperwork. They do like, our paperwork goes like this. When we get paperwork, it says final notice. Ask anybody, it's final notice. So what was the other one notice at? Wow. They have been a total failure. Can you imagine a whole crew with government operators operating inside, operating outside, from overseas, Arabs, Iranians, African Americans, everybody working against the movement. To sabotage it, to instigate fighting, threatening, snitching, it's all failed. They should be ashamed. A government, one Negro, now I'm just talking a little crazy. What they do is they make a super nigga out of it, what we used to call. They do. The stuff that, look, I'm telling you, look at Dar al-Islam, look at all the movements. If they hit us with 50 punches, they hit them, the big ones, with one punch, and they'd fail. And they do that stuff to us every day. That means that we what they used to call a super nigga. Yes, that's what it is. And they should have messed with somebody else. Because see, the thing that this system hates, you know, Europeans, big ones especially, they hate for you to tease them and make fun of them. That's what we're doing. We're doing just what they don't like. And we tell them, if you don't like it, you know the address. Come and get us. You know what I mean? Yeah, come on down here, sucker. If you so bad, scaring all the Muslims to death, well, you ain't scaring us. That's just fun to do that. And we can see now, we got the feeling that, hey, if they was going to take somebody out, they would have took them out a long time ago. That's what we're doing, psychological guerrilla warfare. We have to sell the dream and the vision and the picture of independence and to other people. The Muslims right now are in a state of, let's call it fear. And fear means to choke, it strangle, it prevents you from moving up and outward, it just hinders your growth.
Suffocating, yeah.
That's what in Hebrew, that's what choke means. It means to strangle and to suffocate. That's the original word, yes. All right. So, we have to, now, this character stuff that we're doing, that's what it's to do. It's first to take fear away from people. It's also to get people to laughing at the enemy. You know, you can't be afraid of nobody if you're laughing at them. When people in Oakland see Mukhtar and Khadijah, they start laughing. They say, y'all, that's the Muslim man that's been messing with Big Hank up there. That's what they say. And now all of them people are ducking around. They try to call me like, yeah, you are something. I say, I have friends out there. Y'all be ducking, and people, friends just walk by, so they jump and look all around. Hey, man, I said, you the one that's jumping around out there, not me.
Walking around paranoid.
They're paranoid. Well, look what they did. They have done stuff. They shoot dogs. When I leave, they turn the water on. I get back, it's an $800 water bill or something like that. You know what I mean? All the time. So now people know that. Okay, so they brought old dope fiend friends of theirs. If they thought I would be by myself, and they come by and they try to vet people and they do all their little stuff. And now it's backfired. Because here's the key. The key is never let other people set a date for you, choose a battlefield, things like that. So we stayed focused. And this Islam, Brother Tufel and I talk about it a lot because he's into what I was into for many years. I'm still into it, but I don't have so much time. Tafsir of Quran. And when you do this type of stuff, it brings the Quran alive.
Yeah.
It is a real experience. And it's just unbelievable. So anyway, I've also studied a lot of Suizin, they call them Sun Tzus and stuff like that. I just read it. You know what? All the tactics and strategies that he used, he developed thousands of years ago, we use them. We just learn. We study guerrilla warfare, psychological guerrilla warfare. We study all those things to find out what they're called. Yeah. But we do them ourselves.
Absolutely.
We've already,
just the terminology now.
Yeah, it's we're just explaining to people, you know, and one of the things is, of course, war is deception. And one thing Suizin said, if you can avoid confrontation, avoid physical fighting if possible. The greatest thing is to neutralize your enemy and capture him without fighting. But there's something that's not in his writing. The highest level of battle is to have your enemy assist you in defeating him.
Himself, yeah.
That's what psychological guerrilla warfare is. So I would like to just wrap up this one by our current future programs. What do we want to do technically? Re-Africanization of Islamic movement in North America. Past indigenous Islamic movements inside the USA were militant, independent, strongly on the Sunnah, and liberation orientated. Our movements and organizations today must revive these characteristics. We must be visionary, guided by ideals and principles laid out in the following ayahs, the ones that I just read. Who is better in speech than one who calls men to Allah, work righteous deeds, and says, I am of those who bow in Islam, nor can goodness and evil be equal. Repel evil with what is better. Then will he, between whom and thee was hatred, become as it were thy friend and enemy. And no one will be granted such goodness except those who exercise patience and self-restraint, none but persons of the greatest good fortune. So as you can see, our mission comes out of the Quran. We must be missionary. Okay, now there's a visionary and then there's a missionary, or there's vision and mission. We put area on the end of it, which means it doesn't. Visionary is the one that can see that beautiful world. Oh man, we talked about it. Shangri-La, utopia, Islamic society according to Quran and Sunnah. All of those are utopian visions, visionary. But missionary is the one that implements the vision. So what we're going into this cycle is implementing on a higher level the ideas and concepts that we've had in mind all along. In other words, we haven't changed our vision and mission that much. It's just that we keep evolving. So this past and present encirclement and suppression by the United States and the Zionists, we've won those, hands down. We've just won. And for us, it's almost a thing of, we've won. There's nothing they can do about it. Okay. But winning does not make us arrogant. It makes us grateful and thankful. That's the difference. Right. Okay. So we must be missionary, willing to do the work necessary to achieve vision. In fulfilling the above, we must operate on a high level of self-discipline and courage. De-Israelization of Islamic movement in North America. Our behavior should benefit Islam and Muslims first. We must stop reacting to others' expectations and demands. We must avoid integration and assimilation into the warmongering criminal system of the United States government. We must stand up against tyranny and injustice. Then it has the ayat, who you believe, stand out firmly for justice as witnesses to Allah, even as against yourselves or your parents or your kin. And whether it be against rich or poor, for Allah can best protect both. Follow not the lust of your hearts, lest you swerve, and if you distort justice or decline to do justice, truly Allah is well acquainted with all that you do. Battle space awareness. Battle space awareness is an awareness and understanding of the battle space, or theater of operation. In today's war, we are battling for the minds and the hearts of humanity. We must rise to the occasion of our time and act on a heroic level. We must harness all the tools we have at our disposal, media, books, internet, movies, CDs, DVDs, to raise the banner of Islam. In other words, battlefield awareness is, so this might be cyber awareness. What we're doing right here. This is getting into the media. But we will eventually go around and we will pass out CDs and DVDs. Whether they come listen to them or not, we will very soon go and pass them out. Just like our flyers are educational, so our DVDs are. The Islamic Institute has chosen psychological guerrilla warfare as its strategy for combating global Zionist American hegemony. Psychological guerrilla warfare gives a small organization with limited resources and understanding discipline, courage, and deeply rooted in faith to make the best of their situation. We believe in the eventual rise of Islam and the steady decline of Zul and Shirk and Kufr. We must take care to unify and coordinate all the forces of good in our area of operation. One of the reasons that we're talking less about the people that work against us is the same thing like Hillary Clinton and what's the name? Sanders, right?
Bernie Sanders.
Since she's going to win anyway, okay, might as well slow down on the rhetoric, and they do it on purpose, of course, because they're going to have to join forces anyway. He's going to have to bring all these young, energetic people in to help her. That's what they put him out there for.
Yeah, some people say he was just a sheep for the wolves. Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what he was. Yeah. That's exactly what he was, and a lot of people know that. But you got to remember, the general public are not too swift. They ran the Obamaism on them, but they stole the election with George Bush and all of them 2 times. Islamic dialectical idealism. Islamic dialectical idealism views change as natural, constant, historical, and evolutionary. Real revolution emerges from and should be guided by idealism, imagination, and possibility believing. We must strive for a high level of self-determination by which the events that affect us are directed by idealism and not basically materialism. You know, the communists call it dialectical materialism.
Yes, yes.
We're calling it dialectical idealism. Yeah. That the world is changed by ideals more than material. We're going to open, well, it's the pictures out here, but some of our property out there, College of Islamic Movement Studies. Historical study of various Islamic movements, which will include strategic management under conditions of repression. And also Department of Strategic and Islamic Studies. I mean, we archivists, historians, right, chronicling history, so we can teach it. Department of Strategic and Islamic Studies. Everybody have a department of Middle Eastern studies and all that. They study us in detail.
Absolutely. And
we're not studying them. So that's our job. Okay, now this sounds like a big deal, which it is. But we'll do the best we can. If some fat cats can come along later with big trillions of dollars and do it, good for you. But we're rising to the occasion of our time. We've watched everybody sit back and they don't do anything. So we're doing what we can. And on the day of judgment, that's all we'll be counted for. What did you guys do? Well, we did that. It was a little flyer, ain't much, but that's what we had.
Right.
Good for you. Okay, that's the way we look at it. The last two is cultural Muslim cultural development and replacement. We are urging youth to actively cultivate and create a viable, popular Muslim counterculture, incorporating such elements as arts, as halal message music. There's a global cultural void that must be filled. Historical trends show that the cultures of the oppressed always rise in popularity and prominence. Let us place Islam and Muslims into the trend-setting position. We can gradually raise the consciousness of the general society, bringing attention to real-life issues, immigration, proliferation, CIA and criminal activities, Palestine, targeted killings, drones, invasions, 1% against the 99%, Islamophobia. Share a powerful message of optimism and global transformation and a positive vision of the future. What that means is, if you wouldn't remember, but your father would, that was a time when white folks was flocking to black music, temptation. They always have, each generation does. But the 60s was big. And all up to white rappers, they used to have Vanilla Ice, all them kind of people. What it means is people like what we do and they copy it.
Right.
But our music has lost any historical content. There's a few make sense people, but they quieted it down, turned it into gangster rap, and
pop culture.
It is sickening. Okay, now, here's what the Muslims should do. We got them all over. We got them all out in Sterling. We got them in Baltimore. We got them in DC. We got tons of well-educated, modern Muslims. All they got to do is do their poetry, speak in their heart. Do their own message, music, lifestyle, and they just keep doing it. Put it on DVD, we'll pass it out for, on CD, we'll pass it out for them. Eventually make movies of their own. Well, we're gonna do it if they don't make them. And guess what? 5 or 10 years, remember I said it, and it's true, the culture of the oppressed many times overtakes the dominant culture. The music today does not reflect square dancing and country and western. There's a little bit of country, but most of it is popular Negro and other, not white. Doesn't reflect Ireland. It doesn't reflect Anglo-Saxon culture. It reflects mostly our culture. This is a gift from Allah. We're saying that our people right now should just start saying what's in their heart. They'll be speaking to the issues of today, and guess what? Just like in the past, it will attract the most popular people, and pretty soon people will be loving music, Muslims through their culture. And that will be the greatest avenue of bringing them to Islam anyway, not beating them over the head with a dowel. Agricultural liberation, that's agricultural liberation. We're talking about agriculture is like, now they call it urban agriculture. You know, like, you know those little strips of land where we grow flowers, right out there where we grow flowers and stuff? Do you know that when we had time, all of our tomatoes for all of our salads and everything and cucumbers that we use all during the month of Ramadan came out of our garden.
Oh.
And last year, it was a big janaza here. And remember all those big green fruits, all those vegetables?
Squashes and everything.
Down there. That all came out of those little strips of land.
Wow.
Just little strips. So it's called urban agriculture. Well, we believe, and we'll do it at our Masjid, anywhere from 40 to 100 miles out of the city, each Masjid should buy property, maybe an orchard or whatever is out there, you know what I mean? So that we own, not that people are going to be out there in another 20 years anyway,
Right.
but so we can start raising a lot of our own food and not get so away from the land. And if we can raise that much food on those little strips that we can't use it and the people can't buy it all, that it was one janaza, and we just took all that stuff, and all the sisters that came in, they came by my station wagon down there, and I just kept giving it out and out. I gave to all the neighbors, and the stuff tastes good. They said, this don't taste like the stuff in the store.
You don't have all that stuff
this is
in
real.
it. Right.
So anyway, that's what agricultural liberation is. When we're wealthy enough, we'll buy some 30, 40 acres outside of town, inshallah. So we can, if they close down Kroger's and Shoppers and Safeway, we'll be able to eat something of our own, because it's ours.
Right, right.
Yeah. So, thank you very much. Aqulu Kali Hada, wa astaghfirullah li wa lakum.